When this group of riders went to the gate, became the 100th, nearly the 100th, 98 times we've had races here at Hangtown, and here's how it turned out. A home track specialist, Michael Mosiman, busted through, took the lead from Justin Cooper, and won the first moto of his professional career, and the crowd was absolutely loving it here at Hangtown. And we get set for the second half of the day. It's the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship, sanctioned by AMA Pro Racing, the Carson City Motorsports Hangtown Classic. Jason Wygant here with six-time AMA National Motocross champ, the Golden Boy, Brock Glover. Hangtown has had a lot of great races in the past. This one might be one we remember for a long time. It's been a great day so far.
It's definitely something I'm going to remember for a long time. And you know what? I've never thought of this ever in my life, but I am absolutely considering changing my name to Jason, because I got Jason Wygant, Jason Thomas doing a Hall of Fame job down there, and then Jason Anderson just put an epic ride in. So if you're not named Jason, I guess you just can't be at Hangtown.
Yeah, sorry, Brock. Sorry about that. If your name's Michael, though, you're doing pretty well as well. We'll show you that with our highlights of our first moto of the day here in the 250 class. About 10 minutes away from gate drop. Yeah, so the 250 motos going in. The big question was, can anyone stop the Lawrence brothers, who dominated the opening round of the season? Well, they had some challengers here in the first moto earlier today. Starts with Justin Cooper, who gets his second whole shot of the season. He's got Jalek Swoll right there with him. Good battle early.
It was great. I mean, Justin Cooper, known for his great starts, and didn't disappoint us. And Jalek Swoll, good ride from him. I mean, he had a tough weekend last weekend, but this was an excellent ride. Unfortunately, ended in a little bit of a crash towards the end of the race.
Then Mosiman catches fire. Michael Mosiman closes up and then passes Justin Cooper for the lead. The crowd came to life. He had the fastest lap of the moto during this lap. Grew up at this track, and it showed.
If you're going to do a heater, that's when you do it. You're a second or two behind, you do a heater, you make the pass and put 2 seconds on and give it some gap. So then we saw the Lawrence brothers back at it again.
Yeah, so this is Hunter looking to make the move on his brother Jet, and he gets it done here, and that would move him around a podium position, and we thought he might even go after Cooper for second, but then he tips over.
Yeah, this was a late, kind of a mid to late race crash, and it's just something he's going to beat himself up about. There was kind of no excuse for it. It just, just a mistake.
Yep, and that would push him back to fourth. Jet Lawrence third, Cooper second, and there it is. Michael Mosiman holds on and wins in front of his home fans, and they were certainly happy, and he was certainly happy to get it done. That's the first moto win of his career. And he gets congratulated by his brother, who's racing the 450 class today. We'll give you the results of that one. Shimoda ends up fifth through the pack. Didn't see Levi Kitchen at all. He came from way back to finish sixth ahead of Bolin, Hammaker, Swoll. He had a crash late. Salvages top 10, and Nick Romano is 10th. Okay, let's bring in the third member of the broadcast team, Jason Thomas, with a pre-race report. JT?
So when I arrived this morning, the first thing I heard about was Jet Lawrence feeling a little bit under the weather. And typically I just kind of brush off comments like that. You hear a lot of scuttlebutt, this guy's feeling great or bad. But when you watch that first moto, Jet looked to be laboring, and it looked pretty difficult. So I'm wondering, in the second moto, the temperatures are rising, the conditions are going to be tougher, and his body's going to be a little bit more worn out. Are we going to see that suffering go on in the second moto? So he still has the points lead, nothing is lost, but it wasn't a perfect first moto. So much so that he even skipped the podium interview. So it's going to be something to watch in the second race.
Yeah, just doing all he could to recover as quickly as he can. We'll see how much he has left in the tank here for moto number 2. Riders are taking their sight lap. We'll be back. Jet Lawrence still holding the points lead. His old challenger, Justin Cooper, has found his form again. And a new contender with Michael Mosiman looking to win the overall today. Stay with us from Hangtown.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive. General Tire. For whatever you do, General Tire delivers. And by Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance.
Awesome traditions here. The painted ladies here in opening ceremonies here at Hangtown. Not enjoying the ceremonies as Jet Lawrence, your series leader. He is definitely ill. That's what we heard this morning, and he is showing it right now. It is going to be a long 30-minute and 2-lap moto for him to try to salvage some championship points. Let's give you our track map here, courtesy of MX versus ATV legends. Brock Glover, talk about Hangtown a bit.
Again, off the start, nice loamy dirt. Pulled in the corner a little bit more than the track map shows, make it a little safer negotiating that for all 440 riders. And then off the big jump, a lot of elevation changes here at Hangtown. Up this hill here, we saw a great pass earlier by Jason Anderson on Chase Sexton. They're fully off camber section here, difficult section. make a run right here, and then the first big long power uphill to the big Monster Energy double jump. The one thing about this track, it's loamy, it's deep, but the downhills are getting deep, deep ruts. The corners are getting rutted, so the track is very challenging, and the second motors are going to be tough. Big rollers here, almost supercross roller. Off a triple here, down into some more ruts, right-hander, kind of a hip jump here. Riders have not too much problem there, but nice options in this corner here. 2 or 3 different lines before we run towards the old Fly 150 jump. And then there, when the track goes, made a little change at the last minute here, trying to get the lap times closer to the 2-minute mark for television and time. Track, you can see, goes through this section and then hits this big elevator jump right there by the Lucas Oil banner. That is like 3 stories up. And then when you go around the top, around the old oak tree, traditional landmark here at Hangtown, coming down section, a right with a quick left combo at the old finish line jump, and then the nice steep wall jump to slow the riders down past the mechanics area before they get the last right-hand corner, and then the finish line jump.
All right, that's a lap at Hangtown, courtesy of Brock Glover. RJ Hampshire, title contender coming into this season, had a problem in the first moto and is not going to line up here in Moto 2. I'm not sure if this crash that we caught on camera is the one that ended it for him or not. This is not that big of a crash in motocross terms. But he dropped back from a podium area to 16th, is not lining up in Moto 2. Let's follow up on this story, send it back to Jason Thomas.
Yeah, I spoke with Rockstar Husky manager Nate Ramsey, and he just said he's a little bit too beat up, couldn't continue, but it's a really tough break this early in the season. You know, literally every opportunity is still on the table, and to miss a moto only in the 4th moto of the year really puts you behind the 8 ball.
Yeah, that's a rider that wanted to win the title. All right, KTM keys to the moto time here, Brock.
Well, it's broken record for me. Get a good start. Beat the Lawrence brothers. It's pretty good. Unfortunately, right now, we just found out that Jet's feeling very under the weather, and beating Jet Lawrence is probably going to be his own body doing it to him.
Yeah,
but, Hunter,
that's right.
I'd like to see Hunter get a good start there and see what he can do here. But Michael Mosiman, we talked about that in the pre-show about how he's a local boy. A lot of laps on this track. Seems very, very comfortable here. And I mean, for me, feel-good story. I'd like to see a local guy get his first outdoor national win ever right here in Hangtown.
We will see. There's going to be some pressure certainly on the shoulders of Mosiman to finish this one off. He's had an hour to think about trying to get that first ever overall win, and to do it in front of the hometown fans. Jet Lawrence is vulnerable. It would also be valuable for championship points as far as Mosiman is concerned. So much on the line here. Fly Racing 30-second card is up. 30 minutes and 2 laps of racing headed your way. Here live on MAV TV. The card goes sideways. The revs will come up. Can Mosiman get it down on the 29? Don't forget Justin Cooper finished 2nd in that first moto in the hunt for it as well. Here we go.
So I'm hearing it. Jet Lawrence, #1, looks like he's got the start. Is he going to be able to hold on the first corner? Is that another Yamaha?
I think it's Cooper again. So 2 whole shots for Cooper. Yeah, Jet had the jump, not able to control the inside. So Justin Cooper is going to lead both motos early.
That's twice we've seen that rider just on the shoulder of the person who appears to have the whole shot. In the first moto, we saw Anderson that, and then Chase Sexton went around. This case here, it looked like Jet had the whole shot, and Justin Cooper was able to go around the outside.
31 of Swole, the 411 of Nick Romano in the hunt as well, right there with Jet. And there is Mosiman in 5th.
Another great start by Jalik Schwoll. That's a very nice move for him. 2 of them. He's had a couple of 3rd-place starts, and that's where he needs to be to get his confidence back.
So what can Justin Cooper do? Can he check out? He wins this moto. He wins the overall. Jet's got his hands full. Romano is right there. Swole is right there. Mosiman also.
Our rookie from New York there. That's a really nice job by Romano. He got second. This is his 2nd pro race ever, 4th moto, and he's had 2 good starts and 2 good starts today, and 1 good at the whole shot last week at Paula Raceway. So this is how you get how you break into the pro ranks and get thrown in with the fire with the top boys.
Yeah, definitely getting some experience right now. He's got Mosiman all over him as you watch Cooper lead Lawrence downhill.
Yep, I think our first moto leader, Michael Mosiman's back in about 5th place. Joe Shimoda, a little better start this time. And the other local boy, Max Volan, is in 7th, so it's a little better start for Max this moto.
And they're all trying to sort out where they want to go. Whoa, Cooper off the racetrack, was almost off the motorcycle. In a tough spot to get back on, so just like that, Jet Lawrence inherits the lead.
Yep, have to be real careful not to accelerate to gain an advantage there, which he didn't. Obviously went from 1st to 2nd, so that's not, there's no advantage there, but it's what Jet Lawrence would really like to have happen, because he's no longer having to eat roost.
Yeah, he's had enough physical problems to deal with. We will show you the replay here of the mistake by Cooper here in just a second as he's trying to put the attack on Lawrence and quickly reclaim the lead. And Romano's not messing around with his teammate from third. There's the mistake.
It looks like his front end just was in a rut, started to tuck a little bit as he got on the gas, and then when it came down, it hooked him back to the right. He had to go around the Fly 150 jump there, but good save by Justin Cooper.
Look at Romano. Yeah, second pro race.
He's like, look, this 32 bike I've seen many times around my local practice track and training track down in Florida. I'm not gonna bow down to him just because he's a vet.
That's right. Going around the outside, trying to make the pass.
You know, one thing I noticed last week with Romano, he was doing kind of that, what I call the amateur scrub, a little extra head whip, a little extra body movement on the first moto. And I was doing some PA announcing at the track, I mentioned the fact that this is what you don't do at the pro ranks. You save every ounce of energy you can, because then you're going to need it at the end of the second moto. So it looks like he's kind of calmed down his body style a little bit.
Okay, and he continues the battle. That is Swoll. That's what we were looking for there on the box on the side of the screen. He was right there in the hunt, and now he's off the track. I don't know if that's a bike problem, potentially, for the 31. No, they said he pulled off on his own, although he might have been sensing a bike problem, so we don't want to speculate on it's bike or body. But, man, what could have been a good day for Swoll into the crash. He's favoring his arm there a little bit.
Yeah, he's definitely favoring his right side of his body there, it looks like to me. Things went from bad to worse for the Rockstar Husqvarna team, and,
yes.
And Nate Ramsey and the group over there. That's sorry to see that.
Man, and it started well. Swoll was a game-time decision to be able to race today, and then was running in a podium spot most of Moto 1, a late crash, finished 9th. Now is out of Moto 2. We go back to this battle. No surprise, Justin Cooper and Jet Lawrence have been battling for years, and they picked it back up today.
And the one thing about knowing, I mean, Justin Cooper, it's no secret, Jet Lawrence is not feeling well. He has a bit of a cold, but we've been talking about it. He was showing it with his, he's showing it with his body language, and so does Justin Cooper know that and say, listen, I'm just going to keep grinding on this guy for 20 minutes, and by the 20-minute mark, he's fading, or, who knows? You always have to be careful of that injured animal. They always seem to have a little extra in him, so maybe Jet Lawrence, we'll see. Maybe Jet Lawrence was playing possum here.
Yeah, Cooper was all over him. He lost the lead with the mistake. He went off the track, and then it looked like he wanted to pass him immediately. Jets opened up, we're going to say 5-6 bike lengths now. And you also have to watch for Romano, and we're waiting on the charge from Moseman.
Yep, and Moseman is now in 4th place when Jalek Swoll went out, and so we're going to see what happens.
Wait a minute. What happened to Moseman? Now we've lost him. You see he's dropping.
No.
He must have made a mistake, so the overall win, he might have coughed it up. And suddenly it would come down to Cooper against Jet Lawrence for the overall. Right now, Jet would actually have it with a 3-1. It's very, very early. 25 minutes and 2 laps to go. I'll tell you what, if Justin Cooper can end up winning the overall today, after how it went last week with a 10-14, it'd be a fantastic turnaround if he ends up winning today.
It would be an amazing turnaround. He'd throw a lot of people off, because there's not many people have him in the pool to win at the top of their fantasy motocross.
Not the way it was 7 days ago.
Not a chance, and I'm unfortunate, but I do want to know what happened to Michael Moseman. He must have either crashed out or...
There he is. So tough break for Moseman, who is out of the top 30. And Michael's bent.
Yep, right-hand side of the bars are all bent down, so it took a big hit because those new handlebars, modern handlebars, are strong. His brake lever's down. He just, that was not what he needed to do.
Yeah, oh, wow, that bike is mangled. Yeah, you're right. What a hit that takes to do that.
You know what? My suggestion is, just push as hard as you can. You know what? You'll learn to adapt with a crooked motorcycle. I've seen a lot of top riders over the history of this sport do that, and, you can actually ride faster than you think you can.
Well, the goal at least would be to get into the top 20 and score championship points. 21st on back, you don't score any. And Moseman fixes himself as a title contender, so he wants every point he can get. So that would be goal 1, to try to go from 35th to 20th, even with the bent bike. How about Jet here? Looks a lot better now than he did a minute before the moto, when he couldn't even keep his head up on the handlebars.
I agree. It's like I said, he could be playing these guys a little bit. We'll have to see. It's long time left in the moto. We'll find out if he's able to hold on, but he's still got 25 minutes left plus 2 laps, so he got a long ways to go.
But he is steadily inching away from Cooper. He's 0.2 of a second quicker their best lap, and that was also the last lap that they had. So he's picking up the pace just a little bit. Cooper's in striking distance, though. And Nick Romano trying to settle down in third. It's Shimoda bringing the challenge to him in the Monster Pro Circuit Kawasaki to 30.
Yeah, I've been impressed with Nick Romano here. He just seems like he learned a lot that first race, no question about it, and he's just able to pick it up just a little bit more. And I watched him a lot last year, mostly on the computer at Loretta Lynn's, and I also thought he had very good racecraft. Line selection was excellent, and I figured when he made it to the pros that it would be a nice transition, and it's proven me correct.
All right, rider out of New York could have raced amateur for one more season, but they decided to move him up early, and he made his debut last week. He will race all 12 rounds here as a pro, and what a start to it.
In New York, to mention New York, we've got Justin Cooper and Romano both. We got two of the top three out of the New York City metro area. That's really a hotbed of motocross.
Yeah, right.
It's
exactly.
The new one. Yeah.
Unbelievable that would happen. Yes, it's not upstate New York where they own some farmland. I mean, they are in the city, both of them. And the fact that they got to enough local races and found enough places to ride. And by the way, that means you're not riding in the wintertime. You can guarantee that. Moseman is pulled in now.
Yep.
And he's trying to fix his own bike.
Yeah, they need to loosen that lever perch right there, otherwise he's going to be breaking that lever off. It looks like they're all calling it in.
He has to be so disappointed after riding so spectacularly and winning the first moto. You also have to factor in it could be dangerous if you push too hard with a bike that's mangled. As we watch Shimoda and Romano battling it out for third on the screen.
Yeah, I'm old school. I flash back to seeing pictures of Mark Barnett and Janny Magoo Chandler riding around with handlebars bent down. It happened to me one time at Mount Morris at High Point too, and you can still get around the track faster than you think you can. You got to get over that initial shock. Your bike feels funny. You could have moved that brake lever up, but I don't know, as far back as he was, I don't know if he could have gotten the top 20 to earn points. And then if that's the case, then it's not worth staying out there.
Man, a heartbreaker. Moseman came in position to get the overall win. He started well, had about fourth or fifth, and then fourth once Swole was out, and then it came unraveled from there. Meanwhile, Shimoda, this is what he does, man. Just quietly goes about his work and finds himself battling around the podium week in and week out. And he's putting the heat on Romano for third right now.
Yeah, he's steady Eddie. I mean, Joe, if you're going to be a critique of Joe Shimoda, you'd say, oh, he won't push himself above that comfort zone. Well, guess what? He's also been very good about not getting himself injured. Young rider coming up through the Supercross ranks, not being injured is a hard thing to do, and he keeps getting better and better. Again, he was a tryout a year or so ago on the Pro Circuit team, and now he's their top rider.
Here's our Thor battle box. We can give you two things at once. You've got your leader, Jet Lawrence, and Justin Cooper in second on the right side, courtesy of the drone shot. And then that battle for third with Romano and Shimoda. And is that Max Folan sneaking into the picture on the Red Bull KTM?
Yeah, it is, absolutely. Top five. So we've got Max Folan on the 36 KTM in fifth place right here. Another local rider. So he's flying the flag for the NorCal. Look at that pass Joe Shimoda just put on Romano. So here comes Max too. He's another one that can make the move, follow Joe through, and see what happens.
Shimoda was tired of waiting and just squeezed around the outside. Now the gap is about 6 seconds between he and the leaders, but remember, Lawrence is a little under the weather, and we haven't seen Cooper quite have the typical 30+2 level moto length fitness early in this season. Shimoda keeps cranking out the fast laps. He might be able to get himself in position to win this one.
Yep, and Hunter Lawrence is joining the end of this train here. He's coming up to Caboose, but it's these guys have got four good guys right in line here. It's going to be fun to see. So I think Max Folan better make his move as soon as he possibly can on Romano, and I know Hunter Lawrence knows that too. He doesn't want to. They don't want to lose contact with Joe Shimoda.
Yeah, Hunter has to hustle. The event points, which would determine the overall podium for the day, you see on the left side. It would be Shimoda now third overall, and Hunter would be off the podium, which he does not want. So he's got to make moves. First rider to go after, second-year pro, Max Folan. Had a rough go of it in Supercross. So the goal is to just pretend Supercross didn't happen, kind of pick up where he left off in this Motocross Championship last year, where he definitely showed some signs. And riding very well today. He is all over Romano. Yeah, Max is certainly more comfortable outdoors than he is in Supercross, and that's okay, because that's what
his goal is to be able to win a Supercross or a Motocross Championship before Supercross, so no problem there. But Hunter Lawrence, you just watch him. He just inside out, nice line selections, always on just off the shoulder, trying to do just something slightly different in case Max makes the slightest mistake. He's not caught in the same rut behind him. If Max makes a little bobble, then Hunter's going to be able to make the pass. So he's just, again, riding on the shoulders almost of the lines that Max chooses ahead of him.
Here we go, uphill, great three-rider battle. Romano versus Voland versus Lawrence. And Romano, look, he hole shot last week. He didn't hold on for very long. This is already serious progress for the rookie.
And again, I mentioned that he just keeps making a little bit, another step up. But right there, that was a little bit of a problem. Just didn't get on. Coming down that rut selection, it was a little bumpier. It ended up being a slower rut than he expected. And Max Voland found a fast rut on the outside. Now Hunter's doing the same. He's got to get around him. It looks like he's going to make this is the same place he passed his brother in the first moto before he fell. And again, he moves himself right there around Romano and into what I believe is the 5th place.
Okay, and now going after Voland again. So they've both displaced the rookie, and this is what you often see. The young guys, they have the speed, but the 30 minutes and holding that intensity all the way to the end, that's something new. Wow, Hunter, that was quick. He's right there with Voland already, side by side, just trying to inch ahead. Can he beat him down to the inside? He can.
Yeah, absolutely, right here in this new section of the track, right here, crossover. It's a big double jump there. Max doesn't get the run at it, and he loses a little drive, and then whoops. Hunter then steps up the elevator jump to the top, and he's holding on right there. He's moved himself comfortably into 4th position.
Romano still close. Then you've got Styles Robertson, the lone man left for that Rockstar Husqvarna team. Back to the lead. Justin Cooper starting to close in on Jet Lawrence.
Yeah, we were wondering when this was going to happen. Now it was, almost up to 3 seconds there, and I was thinking, okay, is this going to happen or not? Or is Jet Lawrence, is he just playing us here? But now at this point, we're down to 1.5 seconds. Maybe that illness is kind of coming into effect here for Jet Lawrence.
JT, send it down to him.
So Jet Lawrence has figured out a line here just before this elevator jump that Brock so aptly named. They're approaching it now after this left-right. He's doubling across the inside of this line, and I spoke with team manager Lars Lindstrom, and he said he saw Jason Anderson do it in that first 450 moto, and he started pulling it off, which is incredible to just start doing in the middle of a race. It's right here. He doubles across the inside of that line there. It almost goes down. You see how difficult it is there, but he's making up a lot of time there over most laps.
Oh, that was almost his best friend or his worst enemy. That's worked out well and bad. And Justin Cooper can learn from all that, Brock.
Yeah, that's it's not easy changing mid-moto like that, and that shows these young guys how so much talent they have. It's impressive, and to watch Jason Anderson do it and not really get a shot at it, you just got to pull it off and do it, kind of a do-or-die move.
Okay, so Cooper closes back in after the mistake by Lawrence. We're right back where we were last year. So many great battles. We're halfway through this one. 15 minutes down, 15 minutes to go. You'd save 15% or more on your motorcycle insurance with Geico. Cooper versus Lawrence. The battles are back. Both of them ailing in different ways. Justin Cooper lost a ton of preseason riding time, was off the bike for a good 5 months, December through April. So he's getting his fitness back. Lawrence, he's recovering from illness, or in recovery from illness. Definitely not 100% fit either. Give you the whole shot replay here, courtesy of motosport.com. 2 whole shots today for Justin Cooper.
Yeah, it looked like Jet Lawrence got a great jump off the line. Clearly was going to have the whole shot, and then Justin Cooper was just able to hold it on the outside just a little longer. Oh, actually from the inside, I apologize. But yeah, I thought Jet Lawrence was going to have the whole shot, and it just ended up being another one of Justin Cooper's. One more rung on the ladder, right? He guy has, by the end of the year, he's going to have most of them.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, the bike helps. That monster Yamaha Star Racing team always has fast bikes. But of all the fast starters, he's been the fastest.
Yeah, he is. He's just an excellent starter. So that's an important feature. I mean, motocross, we all know the importance of the start. But here
what did I say? I knew this was going to happen. Shimoda was so aggressive getting into third. He's catching them.
He is. It surprised me. He's actually gapping Hunter Lawrence, leaving him behind, and closing in on our leaders right here. And so he's going to easily be able to see that to win this moto is just this far ahead of me. So he's got him. He's up. They're in his sights right now. So it's going to be interesting to see if Joe Shimoda can close this gap a little bit further. Hunter, right now, Justin Cooper needs to not focus. He needs to pay attention here what's coming up behind him, because if he keeps focusing only on Jet Lawrence, he's not going to realize he's going to have a three-way battle.
Yeah. Well, like we said, we don't know exactly where the 30 minutes are for the two leaders, but it's good for Shimoda. And this is just the beginning of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. We're at round 2 today. Next week, we'll be live, MAV TV and NBC, providing coverage from Thunder Valley Motocross Park, Lakewood, Colorado, at a half hour outside of Denver. That's Saturday, June 11th. We will start at 5 Eastern with our coverage on MAV TV. It is a 3-rider battle for the lead. Stamp it. Shimoda is there. He's never won a Moto before. So we could have 2 first-time Moto winners on the same day after Mosiman earlier.
And it's just be amazing. That would be fun to see. That's what the 250 class is really supposed to be anyhow. It's a little bit of a developmental series where the riders come through, even though it's a full national championship class, don't get me wrong, but it is where the younger riders kind of come up and cut their teeth, and then by the time they move up to the 450 class, we've seen the Tomacs do it, we've seen the Sextons do it, we've seen all of them do it. So this is fun to see first-time winners.
Cooper is falling into the clutches of Shimoda, but Jet looks pretty strong here.
He's still holding on tough. I mean, he is. I mean, actually right now, if you're going to say who's the strongest rider on the track, and it's Joe Shimoda.
Yeah, Shimoda is there. The lap times probably tell the story. We'll give them to you a couple turns away from the end of this lap. 12 minutes and 2 laps to go. The crowd comes to life as they sense the battle.
Yeah, you saw Justin Cooper kind of get hung up a little bit in that rut. His outside shoulder kind of dipped in the bike. And that happens, the bike starts climbing out the rut. He got hung up and he lost a little drive, and Joe Shimoda just closed another bike length or 2 when he did that.
Yeah, Shimoda went into the 213s, and it's a 214 for both Cooper and Lawrence. About a second and a half quicker was Shimoda than our leaders.
And we saw right there on the screen where Justin Cooper glanced over his shoulders like, really? Is he coming up here? He now he's got to focus behind him. So it's not what you want when you're trying to take over the lead. You don't want to be looking over your shoulder when you're trying to pass a rider ahead of you.
Justin Cooper better go. He is losing ground to Jet and also to Joe. He's in a sandwich right now.
Yep.
Shimoda has that line down.
Yeah, he does. Just double jump that bump and then rip little kick there up to that Monster Energy double. Joe looks good in the ruts too. He's getting through them really well. He's carrying a lot of momentum. He's not bobbling too much, and this track is just getting treacherous.
Oh, unbelievable, the downhills and the ruts.
These guys, this is the best suspension anybody has on a motocross bike in the world. These guys work on this every single week, and this track's just beating them up.
And they have pulled away. Hunter Lawrence is 5 seconds behind this battle as Joe's looking for alternate lines. Try to make a move on Cooper.
I like that line there. He kind of a new line developed midway through, just pivot across. He does it again here. Jumps back to the inside.
He's going to be on the outside here.
Yep, rider's left and then jumping right alongside. See if he can carry this outside berm with any momentum.
Here we go. Shimoda setting himself up on the inside for this left-hander over the fly racing jump. No! Cooper saw it come and blocked it.
What a great aerial shot our drone provided us there. It's just amazing. But here we go back towards the elevator jump. See if these guys can hit this thing. That's, like I said, that's a 2 or 3 story up right there. The drone doesn't show that, but it's you can get the sense of it.
All right, so as they battle Jet Lawrence, he is the beneficiary. He's able to pull away a little bit because now Cooper has to ride defensive with Shimoda right behind him.
Yep, you can see the track is starting to get a little bit hard packed in the ruts. You can see some shininess at the base of those ruts. So inside those ruts, it's going to be a little bit more slippery, but main track, most of it has pretty good moisture in it. Nice loamy conditions.
Oh, nice cut to the inside. Cooper blocks it again.
That was fantastic, just seeing both of those bikes shooting big roosts out of it. And then right now, Justin Cooper's got to do everything he can to keep Joe Shimoda behind him. But they can't lose contact with Jet Lawrence. You start focusing behind him, and you're going to start losing contact with Jet.
Yes, exactly. A couple times Cooper has had to change his line to block Shimoda. Not thinking about speed right now, just thinking about putting the bike where he needs to stop the pass from materializing.
Real downhill off camber right here, and Joe just goes to the outside berm where it's still loamy, trying to get a run. Again, we see him just taking optional lines. I mean, he's just taking the alternate route. Maybe Justin to make a little bobble here or there. He's got to get this pass pulled off if he wants any chance of chasing down his buddy Jet Lawrence. And that's the fun part about it, too. I mean, if you remember the Supercross when Jet got on one of his first podiums, or excuse me, when Joe got on one of his first podiums, Jet was leading the cheerleading.
Yes.
He had the crowd cheering, Joe, Joe, Joe. And it was, and that was really cool. I mean, these guys are friends off the track, but trust me, they want to beat each other when they're on the track.
Another attempt here
There
from
it
Joe,
is,
and this
yes.
time he gets it done, but just able to hold on. As he overjumped, he almost went off the track. Great job to save it.
Absolutely. That was a perfect combo of a little right, left, right, and it was, if it would have been the other way, he would have probably not kept the pass, but he did. It was a great pass, and look how close he is already to Jet.
And great job by Cooper. He fended him off at the top of the hill. Joe just would not be denied as you see Joe starting to close up on Jet Lawrence. Going to replay the pass, Brock.
Right here, just cuts across. Whoa, a little wild. And so I'm going to remind Mitch Payton anytime he tells me that Joe or any of the team over there that doesn't like to get outside of his comfort zone, I'm going to show him that footage right there. What do you think? That was airing it out. That's wanting to win it right there.
Yeah, that's what Joe has admitted, that he's been very good at being consistent, but he needs to hang it out more, and he did to make that pass, and he is catching Jet Lawrence. We know Lawrence is under the weather. Not sure how strong he's going to be down the stretch. So this is Shimoda's moment here to go after the Moto win.
Right, coming across the finish line here, chalk it off one more lap. Right now we got 7.5 minutes left, so 2 minutes a lap is pretty easy to do the math, and this is remarkable. And you know what? If I were coaching Joe Shimoda, I wouldn't tell him to get out of his comfort zone. He's out of his comfort zone enough. You don't need to hit the dirt, and we've already seen the first Moto winner do that. We've already seen it happen to two of the Rockstar Husky riders hitting the dirt. Hitting the dirt doesn't do you very good in championships.
This is what's so great about motocross, man. It is going to be all about digging deep. Shimoda, you see how much quicker he was, 1.5 seconds the lap time compared to Lawrence. And it's just going to come down to who wants it the most out of these three. And they all have reasons to want it. Certainly, Jet Lawrence trying to maintain that points lead. Cooper wants to stay there and get some points back. Shimoda, this would be his first career Moto win, so they're fired up.
Hey, if anybody ever questions, there's always the old school, the new school guys arguing how much these guys want it. If anyone ever questions how much these guys want it, we've seen this happen now in all three Motos.
Yes.
Well into the Moto, at the 20-25 minute mark, where the fastest laps these guys are turning at that point. These guys want it. These guys are hanging it out. Joe wants it. Look how close he is to his first national Moto win ever. He's just a second behind somebody he knows well. He's pushing it, and if he wins a Moto right here, I'll tell you, it's going to be a big smile over there at that Monster Energy Pro Circuit teams.
Now, I'm trying to figure out how the overall would go today. I don't think Shimoda's going to be able to win it, even if he wins the Moto. So Lawrence could be looking at the overall win, amazingly enough, on a day where he's not feeling that good, even if he doesn't win either Moto. That's what the 2-3 might do. But we're going to have to do some calculating on that one. Right now, Shimoda's only concerned with one thing and one thing only. He wants this Moto win, and he just tipped over. Oh, Joe.
The announcer's curse. We were just talking him up. Gosh. And it looks like the same exact corner that it caught Hunter.
Yeah, it really was. It was that left-hand corner, and we'll see it at the top of the elevator jump.
Yep. Right there.
Even happens to pros at the highest level when you're pushing.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance. Motosport.com. Make your next ride your best ride. And by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast.
We're back here at Hangtown. This is from earlier today. Pierce Brown with the GoPro on his Troy Lee Designs Red Bull KTM, showing what it's like to ride this racetrack. Unfortunately, Brown crashed out of racing today. Oh no, that was the first Moto he crashed out. He's back here. We're in the top 10 in Moto 2. Good bounce back.
No, really great bounce back. I actually was happy to see that he was lined up on the start. I saw his number 44 on the far right because his bad gate pick in the second Moto, but he was riding great.
All right, so here is our battle. A three-rider tilt for the lead. The Lawrence brothers and Justin Cooper. This is for the overall Moto wins, points, you name it. If this race ends like this, Jet Lawrence will win the overall by 1 position over Justin Cooper. So obviously if Cooper passes Jet, he takes the overall win. But Hunter Lawrence from third is right there.
Little family tactics here. Hunter's not going to settle this, and he knows too. If he can give, Justin Cooper a bunch of static here, or pass him, whatever it is, it's going to help his brothers.
He's on the inside.
Honda. At this point right now, he's just going for it.
Well, I think if you're Hunter, you don't only want to pass Cooper. You think you probably got a shot to go all the way up there and get this moto win from your brother. But one step at a time, he's got to get Cooper, and Cooper has been so good at keeping that Yamaha wide today.
Yep, he's got about 3 laps to do it, so he better do it. And Justin Cooper better start focusing forward. I mean, if he wants to win this overall. I mean, I know he's given it at all. And it's Hunter Lawrence got bottled up in that corner there. Looks like he just got caught up in the rut. Didn't look like it was a lap rider situation. It just looked like he made a little bobble in the rut.
Okay, so temporary relief for Justin Cooper with a mistake by Hunter Lawrence. Does Cooper have anything left to go after Jet Lawrence for the moto win? This would be unbelievable if Jet can pull this off. We saw him on the line. His head resting on his forearm, not even able to hold his head up. He was so sick, didn't do a podium interview at the end of Moto 1, and here he is on the number 1. 2 laps away.
Or at least he had his competitors thinking he was so sick. Again, be careful of the wounded animal here. You don't want to mess with him.
He's not done, though.
Yeah, he's not done, and Jet's not done. And even if it ended in Jet in 3rd place, it was a great recovery. He's salvaging. He's salvaging at this point. This is maybe, he knows physically he's not the 100%, but if he can salvage even the top 3, he's in good shape.
Okay, so Justin Cooper, they did huge bike changes after the first race. Physically, actually felt okay. Oh, is that Hunter on the outside there?
Yeah, it looked like Hunter was maybe almost cross-rutted as he was taking off the edge. And you can see this is a great shot above that Lucas Oil banner on the top there. That's where he was, and he looked like he cross-rutted. He's crested that hill, and it shot him to the outside.
Cooper a little less pressure again from Hunter because of the mistakes, and he is free to go after Jet. Team said the goal was to try to beat Jet Lawrence in 1 moto today and get a few points back. They already did that in Moto 1, where Cooper finished 2nd and Jet finished 3rd. But he's got a shot at beating him in both.
What a great overhead shot with our aerial drone there, just showing how rough, and those bumps are twice as big as they appear on the screen. So these guys, they're dealing with it. And the second 450 moto is going to be gnarly.
And that's all is in it. You see the top 3 all in one spot. Jet Lawrence, the 18-year-old out of Australia. The man out of New York, Justin Cooper, who fought for this title all year last year. Now, it wasn't certain if that was going to happen again because Cooper, with a bad foot injury, at one point they thought he wouldn't even be able to race this championship. He got back in record time. But how much fitness did he lose? Well, as he told us on the podium after Moto 1, they focused so much on the ride time and the fitness that maybe they didn't focus enough on testing and getting the motorcycle where they wanted. Huge changes today, and it's definitely a lot better with the bike.
Yeah, the seat time, he was worried about getting enough seat time to get that base training in and all that. But again, you miss the setup on the motorcycle, and then all you're going to do is fight it. That's just going to tire you out, so all the fitness in the world's not going to help you when you're fighting your motorcycle. So looks like they made a nice change, clearly, an improvement over last week, and his riding is improved also. And his conditioning, I'm sure, is improving too.
And improving on the track is Hunter Lawrence, who is catching Cooper again. He got there, he made a mistake. He's almost there. There's 32, and there is the 96.
You notice now on that wall jump, they're just crawling over the top of it and then accelerating down the backside, more like we used to see in Supercross. Because when you're launching it out into the ruts, it's just a dangerous thing. You never know if you're going to land right in the rut or on the edge of a rut, and you could easily fall.
Well, this is fantastic, this action that we're watching here. Lucas Oil Pro Motocross here on MAV TV.
Yep, you see Hunter Lawrence, and he's coming into that last corner of the bumps. You can tell he's kind of releasing the brakes a little, take a little load off the bike so it's not kicking so much. Sometimes when you're overly braking too much going into those braking bumps, you can really load the suspension, and then it's not going to work as freely as it should. So Hunter's veteran, got a lot of experience, and he's doing a great job.
Shout out, that's the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series coming up 9 p.m. Eastern from West Virginia Motor Speedway. That'll be a fun one. So here it is. Yeah, what happened to Jet? I think he's pulled away.
Yeah, this battle for second place is pretty intense. I don't know if Cooper's starting to get a little bit tired, but that Jet Lawrence is disappearing, and Hunter Lawrence is getting closer to Justin Cooper here.
Well, this was the best shot they were going to have at Jet. Try to beat him. Definitely wasn't as dominant as he was last weekend, but he still might get the overall win today. And Hunter's trying to make it a Lawrence Brothers 1-2 again here. Not necessarily in the overall, but for the Moto at Hangtown.
And quietly, Joe Shimoda picked his bike up, got back going, and he's been doing about 8 or 9/10 of a second, almost a full second quicker than these lead riders, and at least in Hunter Lawrence and Justin Cooper. So I'm not sure if Joe has enough time to get in there or not, but he's been clicking off a second almost each lap on these guys.
He is 4th. Max Volan 5th. Kitchen 6th. Robertson, Hamaker, Romano, Pierce Brown round out the top 10.
Yeah, good ride by Styles Robertson. That's you know, he started off about 10th, and he's just slowly, surely worked his way towards the front. And Pierce Brown too. He had a full DNF the first moto, and he's still solidly running in 10th place today.
This might be the last good battle on the track because Jet Lawrence has gotten away. It's not a huge lead, but it's all relative. It's a lot bigger than it had been throughout most of the day. 2 to go, not for long. White flag is out. 1 to go. Jet Lawrence going to try to dig deep and salvage on what was going to be a rough day with illness. Can he win this moto and win the overall?
I wonder if Justin Cooper has one of those qualifier laps in him for one last shot right now, because that's what he's going to need right now.
Oh, this is so good to have the racing this close. About 2.5 seconds in it between the top 3 riders with a lap to go.
I noticed a marked difference in that last corner. We were coming on the front shot there. He looked a lot better. Justin Cooper looked a lot better coming in that corner. He carried a more cornering speed. And again, talked about Joe Shimoda earlier, and Joe's in the background, but I think he's just going to run out of time too.
Man, you give him another lap or 2, he would have been right there again, even after the tip over. So Shimoda might have been the fastest guy today. Unfortunately, he can't show it.
Yeah, Joe is clearly the fastest on that lap, too. For the last 3 or 4 laps, he's been the fastest rider on the track. Just did a 2:13.5, and the front runners are running 2:14.8. So
wow.
Joe Shimoda was 1.3 seconds faster than our leader, Jet Lawrence. So he's airing it out, and he's going to be kicking himself about falling over,
Cooper
too.
looked over. He knew exactly what Hunter Lawrence was trying to set up. It was a long run down that straightaway, all the way into that left-hander, side by side, down the hill. Hunter Lawrence is taking second.
Yeah, it looked like Justin Cooper just made a little bit of a mistake and then compounded because the next corner he didn't have the proper line. Looked a little deflated when body language looked pretty deflated.
I don't know if there's enough time for Hunter to get his brother with only about a quarter of a lap to go. He's going to send it, though, to try to get there. There's the distance. It's about 9/10 of a second. A little shaky there by Jet.
Nope, that's the jump. That's the combo, though. You see, they're the only 2 riders doing it. Both Hunter and Jet are both doing it. That's what JT was talking about in his pit report. That's the one we saw Jason Anderson airing it out on. So great job of those guys catching on to that and adopting that faster line.
Well, it was a perfect day for Jet Lawrence at our opener of Fox Raceway. It was a tough day today, yet somehow the result will be the same. He's going to win this moto, and with it, the overall. Jet Lawrence digs deep and wins Hangtown.
Yep. Some races come easier than others, but this one was a hard-fought one for him, and it's just an excellent job digging deep.
These guys look wet coming across the line.
They are. It's a sprint race nowadays. There's no laps that you're kind of backing it in, pacing it. There's no such thing as pacing it anymore. These guys are full off throttle, full out, all out motos every lap.
Yeah, and that track looked brutal as well. Don't forget, we have 450 Moto 2 still coming your way on MAV TV, so don't go anywhere. Jet Lawrence takes the congratulations. It's Johnny O'Mara, his trainer there, 1984 champion of this class. The fittest guys in the world.
And those are not tattoos. Those are actually on the back of his hand. Johnny writes on his hand more than every person I've ever seen.
That's
oh, yeah.
thing.
He's got notes, lap time. He has all sorts of little things he writes on the back of his hand. And I've seen it now, and I just chuckle when I see it. But Johnny's a great champion, good trainer, and both Lawrence brothers work with him. And you can see right now he's gassed.
He is feeling, and there's their dad, Darren, getting in there. I mean, he is spent. But he emerges with the overall win. Lawrence brothers go 1-2 in the second moto. We'll talk to them on the podium. The story's going to be a little different today. It was not all sunshine and rainbows, but they got it done.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source. Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance. And by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive.
Fans on hand here at Hangtown have been treated to some great racing. All 3 motos we've had so far today. We'll show you the latest one 250 Moto 2 Lucas Oil race recap. So there is Jet Lawrence feeling absolutely horrible at the line. We had heard he was sick, so that didn't portend to what would be a good day. But keep on watching. He gets a great jump here in the number 1, the Team Honda HRC machine, but edged out by Justin Cooper.
Yeah, he definitely had a great jump out of the gate. That's just what he wanted, no question about it. He didn't want to be eating somebody's roost the whole time. Justin Cooper slid up in there in the mid, as he does often, gets the whole shot. But it put Jet in a great position for where he needed to be.
And then it looked like it might be Cooper's moto until a little mistake off the track.
Yeah, that was a great save right there. Had the front end go sideways, and boy, he's lucky he didn't go down.
Yeah, because the entire pack would have gone by. Now, 4th place was Michael Moseman, who had won the first moto, but then Moseman crashed, bent the motorcycle, came into the pits to try to get it fixed, and just like that, he goes 1 and did not finish in the motos today. A heartbreaker for the home track kid who had won that first moto again. So much action after this. Joe Shimoda was the fastest rider on the track. He catches and passes for second.
Yeah, the one thing I know, I mean, Joe was really hanging it out, made this move right here, and it looked like he was going to have a chance for his first win and moto win, and just unfortunately made one mistake here. The top just gets in the rut and falls over, and just same corner that caught Hunter Lawrence in the first race.
And then Hunter Lawrence see the 96, sneaks through, and then late, kept fighting, gets around Justin Cooper to take over second. This is a battle of wills with these 3 riders down the stretch. Hard charge by Hunter to get the second. Got his brother Chet within sight. Chet goes on, though, to take the moto win, and with it, the overall with 3-1 scores. There are your results of this moto. Max Voland, a great ride for 5th. Kitchen 6th, solid again. Robertson, Hammaker, Romano, Brown in the top 10, bouncing back after a rough moto 1. There is the rest of your top 20. Down to the podium with JT.
So Jet Lawrence, that was a tough one. We know you've been feeling under the weather all day, but you fought through, got it done, and now 2 for 2 on the season.
Yeah, no, it's been a rough one today with this cold I got. It's made it very difficult on me. The first rotor, like halfway through, I was flat, and that one I was just pushing all the way through. I had like barely anything in my stomach, so I threw up like just before the second motor. So it was a difficult day, but I mean, I'm pumped to be up here, and hopefully we can just get rid of this sickness and then continue on with the season.
All right. You pointed something out looking at the lap times, Brock.
Yeah, steady Eddie, that's what it was. I mean, Jet Lawrence, his best lap time was a 2:14 flat, basically. And then Hunter Lawrence did a 2:12.6. And Shimoda did a 2:12.7.
Yeah. They were a second quicker on their best lap. But
Absolutely.
They didn't beat him. Yep. Send it back down to the podium with Jason Thomas.
So Justin Cooper, I know you wanted to win, right? But you look at last week and compare it to this week, you're taking steps forward.
Yeah, I mean, 11th, 13th for 12th overall last weekend to this on the box both motos is it's just what I wanted to do today. I wanted to fight at the front, and we were able to do that both motos. So. Yeah, it was getting close there at the end. I was feeling good, and then, yeah, I just couldn't really line up a pass, couldn't get to his back wheel, but he would stretch it, I would close it back in. It was fun. But, yeah, we had a chance of the win, so that's always frustrating, but we can't be too frustrated because the last weekend it was pretty bad. So to turn it around like this is awesome, and just got to give up to the whole team for sticking behind me. Doing a lot of work this week, Star Racing Yamaha. Everyone was awesome there. My trainer, Swanee, we've been putting in the work with the time we've had to get back to this. So we're back racing now. We're back on the podium, and we're going to start fighting for these wins. So it's a really good start and a good way to turn it around. So thank you.
All right, that's Justin Cooper. We'll show you the points here real quick. Justin Cooper up to 4th, who's out of the top 10 after last week. Hunter Lawrence will end up 11 points down on his brother on a day where he could have beat him. A lot of guys could have today, but Jet was able to persevere and hold on. That is digging deep.
It was, absolutely. And
gets it done. Didn't have the fast lap times. Didn't have the fitness. Didn't have the sickness.
You think about his best lap time was almost a second and a half slower than Shimoda and his brother Hunter, but he still won the race.
Yep, controlling it from the front, and that's how titles are won. All right, our 250 show is a wrap here from Hangtown. We'll have more 250 racing next week from Thunder Valley in Colorado, but stay with us because our 450 class is coming your way for their final moto of the day. 250 class, though, is a wrap for Brock Glover and Jason Thomas. I'm Jason Wygant. Great racing today and persevering through it all. Jet Lawrence.